shadows of dusk. The hospital hallway was steeped in shadows. Sunset casting long fingers through the windows, warming the sterile floors that stretched in both directions. Seemingly endless and uneasy quiet reigned, broken by distant machine hums and nurses' muffled conversations that flowed in undertones like a river of subdued emotions. Sam sat in a plastic chair, hands clasped, knuckles white, the weight of familial estrangement etched into his haggard face, each line a testament to time and unspoken hurt. An old clock ticked audibly on the wall, marking time's relentless passage, each second a reminder of moments lost. Winter's cold breath gusted against the windows, rattling them with a force that mirrored the chill within Sam's heart. Frost-glazed streets lay in stark silence, appearing as deserted it as his spirit felt. His mind replayed the argument with his estranged brother Jordan, the shouted words, the slammed door. Years had passed since they last spoke, harsh words still echoing vividly as if spoken moments ago. Now Jordan lay somewhere beyond those walls, clinging tenuously to life. Sam's heart ached with deep regret, a heavy stone lodged in his chest. In a moment of honesty, he whispered, voice low, Lord of mercy, help me. I don't know how to do this alone. A nurse passed, her heels clicking softly, a whisper on the polished floor. Her brief, compassionate gaze met Sam's, offering an unspoken assurance that grace was nearer than it felt, a reminder of humanity in a place defined by its clinical detachment. She moved gracefully down the corridor, leaving a trail of hope in her wake. Night wrapped the world outside in a deep indigo cloak, the hospital a bright island in shadow. Sam stood, the act feeling monumental, like lifting a heavy burden from shoulders weary of carrying the past, needing to move. He wandered the hallway, fluorescent lights casting a cold glow on sterile walls adorned with faded art, a poor substitute for warmth and comfort. The walls seemed to close in, pressing with unspoken fears and silent prayers, each step echoing lonely in the quiet. Shepherd of my soul, Sam whispered, leaning against the wall, the cool surface grounding him amidst swirling thoughts. How did we drift so far apart? Show me the way back to him if it's not too late. His prayer was a plea from the very depths of his being, seeking solid ground, reaching for something transcendent, something only God could provide. As he prayed, warmth bloomed slowly in his chest, tentative but persistent, like spring's first wildflower breaking through winter's hold. Compelled to reach out, he sensed an encouraging nudge, reassuring and steady, a whisper of assurance that he was not alone in this journey toward reconciliation. Sparks of renewal, Sam's phone, a cold rectangle in his hand, felt both fragile and powerful. A lifeline and a barrier. His trembling fingers scrolled to Jordan's name, a simple entry weighted with years and memories, the embodiment of both past pain and potential healing. Fear whispered it was too late, that forgiveness was unreachable, a bridge to burn, to ever cross again. But warmth flared within, urging him on like a flame kindled by hope, an ember refusing to be snuffed out. He pressed call, breath hitching as the line connected, each ring echoing like a heartbeat, rhythmic with his chest's frantic drumming. Then Jordan's voice, frail yet familiar, emerged like an old melody rediscovered after a long silence, harmonizing with Sam's longing for redemption. Words rushed forth, apologies, explanations, tumbling over each other in their haste to mend what was broken. Sam's heart softened, his voice cracking, seeking forgiveness he felt unworthy to ask for, yet desperately needed. In those moments, past grievances melted away like autumn leaves in a gentle wind, their brittle sharpness giving way to the soft earth below. Their conversation became a prayer, a shared surrender, a step toward healing that had seemed impossible only hours before. Silence followed, rich and full, a sacred space where hearts
Act I, the gathering storm. The salty air weighed heavily over the fishing village, a foreboding presence heralding the coming tempest. Dusk stretched its long shadows over the cobblestone paths, presenting the village in a chiaroscuro of light and dark, as ghostly fingers reached through the dim twilight humble cottages, their windows aglow with the warm orange hues of hearth fires, stood resolute against the chill of the sea breeze that spoke in whispers of storms both past and those yet to come. Atop the hill, the village chapel, a modest sanctuary with its peeling white paint reminiscent of forgotten seashells, reached skyward. Its belfry, a vigilant sentinel, overlooked the restless sea, the structure a steadfast beacon of hope anchoring souls against life's turbulent waters.
Inside the chapel thronged with villagers, their voices a low hum beneath the old rafters, reminiscent of leaves rustling softly in a dense forest. Anticipation thickened the air as dusk deepened, whispering on the wings of an evening alive with possibilities. A storm brewed in the skies, and in their hearts Matthias, the village elder and a man of deep faith, peered out through the chapel window at the steel gray sea, its surface mirroring the cloud-laden sky above. His heart ached with the familiar heaviness, a father's worry for his long-lost son Daniel. us from the storm outside and within. Bring him back to us, I pray. His plea, though soft, was steadfast, brimming with the unyielding love of a father. The chapel's air, a blend of damp earth, aged wood, and unshed tears, carried Matthias' supplication heavenward, buoyed by faith in the enduring depths of desperation.
Outside, the wind howled with a ferocity that shook the very bones of the village, rattling windows and causing the chapel doors to tremble. As if echoing some ancient lament amid the tempest, Daniel trudged homeward, his coat sodden and heavy with relentless sea spray. He had left the village in a fury, chasing dreams that crumbled beneath his feet like fragile sand castles. Leaving him worn and disillusioned, each step towards the chapel felt like an act of contrition, a powerful return to the hearth he had once forsaken. Within the chapel, the villagers turned, eyes aglow with the mingling of surprise and profound relief. As the heavy chapel door creaked open, its sound resonant like a whispered promise, Daniel stood framed by twilight, hardship and regret starkly etched upon his face, the weight of his journey visibly borne on his weary shoulders. As he crossed the threshold, the chapel's warmth enveloped him, a blessing and a balm for his battered spirit.
Father, he began, his voice thick with emotion, as he knelt before Matthias. Forgive me, I have lost my way. His words, a raw confession, reached out for absolution from his lifelong guide and shepherd.
Matthias, tears brimming in his eyes, placed a calloused hand upon his son's shoulder, the touch a manifestation of love and unwavering acceptance. The shepherd of my soul hears every plea, he murmured softly, drawing Daniel into a forgiving embrace. You are home.
Together they knelt in silent prayer, surrendering their burdens and finding restoration, their hearts beating in unison with the newfound peace. It was as if the Holy One spoke into the storm, calming their spirits with an outpouring of renewal and grace. A new dawn, new dawn. The storm's fury continued to rage, but within the chapel's hallowed walls, peace reigned supreme. Morning broke with the storm clouds parting to unveil a world kissed by the sun, washed clean and glistening with the promise of new beginnings. Villagers gathered once more, hearts buoyed by the scent of fresh bread, mingling with the crisp and vibrant air, a testament to resilience and unbreakable community bonds.
At the altar, Matthias stood firm, his voice steady as he led a litany of thanksgiving. Behold, I make all things new. He declared, his words an echo of the divine promise that had carried them all through the enveloping darkness. His voice became a beacon, calling all gathered to witness grace's unfolding majesty. Beside him Daniel stood, his past burdens lifted by grace, the shadows of his journey transformed into a tapestry of wisdom. With each prayerful word spoken, he felt life's newness unfurl within him, assured now that God had made him whole again. Lessons from his journey and the community's warm embrace turned his heart toward redemption. rendering him a living testament to the transformative power of faith and love.
Holy One, who calms the storm. The trail slip behind the rugged mountains, leaving the sky a canvas of gold and crimson before shadows cloak the winding road. My old truck, a relic of simpler times, sputtered to a halt on the gravel shoulder. Through the window, the last colors of the day melted into night. The letter in my coat pocket felt heavy, a secret kept too long, a confession to my father that fear and regret had held captive. Stepping into the evening chill, the air scented with pine and earth, my feet found a trail up the hillside. Each step echoed the distance I felt from those I loved. Lord of mercy, I whispered, I'm lost. Do I send this letter? Let silence swallow it. The wind rustled the trees, whispering back assurance, a gentle touch to my troubled soul. The echo of prayer. The trail led higher into the wilderness until I reached a rocky outcrop under a starlit sky. The stars scattered like jewels, cast a silvery glow. I knelt, the stones biting into my knees, and opened my heart in raw, unfiltered prayer. Holy One, I breathed, I fear rejection. Grant me the courage to reconcile. A warmth unfurled within, the whisper of God's presence, kindling like a flame in this sacred silence. I could almost see my father's face, aged yet softened by love. It became clear I must reach out and let go of secrets to unburden my heart. A resolution formed, urging me forward like a shepherd, guiding a lost sheep. A call across the distance, the descent to my truck was deliberate. Each step measured by newfound courage. The chill hung on my limbs, but inside was a flicker of hope. I slid into the driver's seat and retrieved my phone. The letter could wait, I needed his voice. Trembling fingers dialed his number, each ring an echo of my anxious heartbeat. When he answered, his voice was a mix of surprise and warmth. Son, I took a deep breath, drawing courage from the very air. Father, I began, my voice growing stronger with each word. I'm sorry, I wanna come home, if you'll have me. Silence hung briefly, then his response came, soft and sure. The doors have always been open, my son. As we spoke, words of forgiveness and understanding flowed freely. The burden of hidden words melted away, replaced by a lightness like dawn chasing the night. Shepherd of my soul, thank you for guiding me through shadows and silence. Grant me courage to reconcile, to speak truth wrapped in love. Let your light shine through my renewed path, guiding me home. Amen.
A light in the ashes. Acti. After the flames. Underneath a twilight sky of orange and violet. The warmth of the fire clung to my smoke-stained jacket as I stepped away from the smoldering ruin. The charred skeleton of the house stood silhouetted against the setting sun, its vibrant walls reduced to memories, now entwined with the night. Shadows stretched across the pavement, embracing the remnants of the home, whispering elegies for what once was. The chill of autumn settled in, mingling with the acrid scent of singed timber, suffusing each breath with a reminder of loss.
As my boots crunched on the gravel, a brittle symphony beneath the silence, I noticed a singed piece of paper fluttering against the curb. It was a child's drawing, slightly charred at the edges, yet vibrant with its bright stick figures under a smiling sun. My heart clenched at the innocence preserved amidst devastation, a flicker of color in a world momentarily consumed by ash. Inside the fire truck, away from the smoldering ashes, I close my eyes and lean back against the seat's worn leather. The engine's hum beneath me felt distant, a muted whisper over the turmoil within. In that sacred solitude, I began to pray, seeking refuge in divine solace. Lord of mercy, I murmured, help me carry this burden. I feel lost in this sea of guilt. The words streamed forth, unraveling the tight knots of despair, binding my spirit. I waited then, listening to whispers of peace that touched my spirit like a healing balm in the twilight. Out shadows of guilt. As dusk deepened, the orange glow of windows flickered to life in neighboring houses, their warmth contrasting with the hollow ache within. Survivor guilt clung to my spirit tighter than the smoke lingering in my clothes, each breath a reminder of those I couldn't save. I wandered through the autumn chill, feet shuffling along the leaf-strewn path, a hollow echo of lament. In shop window reflections I saw not just myself, I couldn't save. Their eyes lingered, imploring, seeking solace. I found my way to a park bench, cool and damp beneath me. Surrendering to the encroaching night, I clasped my hands and bowed my head in prayer. Holy One, light my path through this darkness. Show me how to release this guilt, to be a beacon for others rather than a bearer of shadows. The call to action. The answer came as a gentle nudge, a reminder that even amid loss, there's potential for new beginnings. A clear image unfurled in my mind, promising a spring buds on the cusp of bloom. The child's drawing, with its simplicity, reminded me of a truth. The light within us shouldn't be hidden, even when the world feels dark. Returning home, I laid the drawing on the table, its vivid colors a promise renewed. In that sacred space, an unfamiliar warmth spread through me, a call to action, humming with divine purpose. I knew I needed to share these experiences, this journey through fire and redemption, with those needing hope. The Lord, shepherd of my soul, was guiding me towards a new mission, a brighter purpose forged from the ashes. Rekindling the light, compelled by newfound clarity, I organized a community gathering, envisioning a sanctuary for those touched by fire and lost to share, heal and kindle their inner light. The community center, a modest building at the heart of town, bustled with intention. A whisper that grew as neighbors trickled in. As I spoke of my journey through darkness, I watched flickers of understanding and courage illuminate the faces around me, their eyes reflecting an inner light. We prayed together, a symphony of whispered hopes rising into the night. Our collective faith igniting a warmth that defied the autumn chill. Candles flickered, casting gentle halos, reflecting the healing light in our souls. I felt the shift within me, a transformation born from surrender and trust. The shadow of guilt diminished, replaced by a steadfast resolve to let my light shine, illuminating the path for others. Each prayer shared, each story recounted wove a tapestry of resilience and hope, binding us in communal faith. Lord of all creation, guide my steps to walk in your light, to be a big clock struck 4 a.m. Its chime a soft whisper in the silence of an immigrant bakery, wrapped in early darkness. The air was cold, the kind of crispness that only winter knows, and the breath from Maria's lips hovered like ethereal clouds before disappearing into the void. Her small corner of solace was alive, the scent of yeast and warm dough, a comforting embrace as she set to work, the flour dusting her hands like snowflakes on a quiet, untouched field. Maria was not alone in this ritual. Her heart sang a silent hymn to the Holy One as she kneaded the dough. The rhythm of her hands matched the rhythm of her prayer. Lord of mercy, guide me today. She murmured, fingers folding and pressing, each motion a testament of faith. Her movements were not just of a baker, but of a pilgrim offering her work to God. This sanctuary of flower and prayer was a place of refuge from a city that often seemed too vast, too indifferent. It was here that her soul found tranquility amidst the broken chorus of the world outside. Daily loaves, unseen battles. The bakery was more than walls and bread. It was a fragile bridge connecting Maria's past and present. Stories of her homeland woven into each loaf, each with a story that sang of love and hardship in a language both earthly and divine. Yet across the street, a rival bakery loomed, its shadow a reminder of competition and tension. Windows glowing with artificial light, it seemed to stare back at her kitchen with an unblinking gaze. Its owner, Thomas, had been a friend once, before ambition tore their fellowship. This morning, the usual peace that Maria found in her prayer was unsettled. Her mind drifted to Thomas, and a sudden pang of distress filled her heart. There had been rumors of financial struggles on his side, whispers carried by the cold wind between the two bakeries. Maria stopped, closed her eyes, and let out a shaky breath, her hands resting on the counter, now cold and unyielding. Shepherd of my soul, what am I to do? She whispered, the question a fledgling bird taking flight into the unknown expanse of God's grace. Answer in the silence. Later that morning, as the rays of the sun began to warm the world outside, Maria stood by the window, the dough rising behind her like promises of hope. Her earlier prayer echoed in her mind, a dull thrum of unease that lingered like the low hum of a forgotten tune. So she turned again to God, this time not asking beyond her understanding, but listening with the patience of a farmer waiting for the rains. The answer came not not as words, but as quiet peace, the kind that settles on the heart like a gentle snowfall, covering the sharp edges of worry with a soft, forgiving blanket. There was a sense, an urging that she could not deny. Share the thought was simple, profound, a clarity that ignited a spark of courage within her. Maria's fingers brushed the cross hanging against her chest. A silent promise formed on her lips, her eyes lifted towards heaven, filled with a new determination. Loaves of reconciliation, wrapping the warm loaves in a cloth. Maria moved with determination across the street, the morning light turning each loaf into golden miracles in her arms. Each step was a prayer, each footfall a reminder of her trust in God's guidance. The cobblestones beneath her feet, a path laid down by angels. The door to Thomas' bakery creaked open, a bell jingling her arrival, a sweet note of hope. Holy One who sees beyond our fears, I thank you for the courage to act in love, for the whisper of your voice in the silence. Guide my heart to always seek your way, and let my life be a whispered prayer to you. In humility I find your strength. Amen. In a small bakery on a sleepy street corner, dawn painted the sky in pale gold, casting a soft glow on the cobbled streets. The serenade of birds waking filled the morning air, mingling with the comforting aroma of freshly baked bread. Manuel, an immigrant baker, felt his spirit lift as he stood alone in his humble oven-lit sanctuary. With skill and steadiness, he pressed his hands into dough. A rhythmic prayer begun at 4 a.m., a sacred ritual imbued with cadence and quiet devotion. Each need became a silent release, each fold a whispered liturgy of hope to God. Lord of mercy, guide my hands, give these loaves your warmth. He murmured words rising like the steam from his oven, ephemeral yet eternal. Beneath the comforting routine, however, simmered a quiet crisis. Just blocks away, a large industrial competitor had opened its stainless steel doors, its brightly lit windows beckoning his once loyal patrons like moths to a flame. The bakery's empty chairs and quiet mornings echoed this new reality. His sigh mingling with the methodical rhythm of his work pausing, he rested his hands on the dough, grounding himself in the age-old practice that followed. Holy One, I need your help. Show me the path, for I am weary. The words were spoken not in despair, but in a faith birthed from necessity. As the bakery doors opened with a soft chime, a gentle light bathed the shop, filtering through the large window panes. Customers trickled in at a leisurely pace, drawn by the scent of bread, the promise of warmth on a cool morning. Yet beneath their cheerful exchanges, Manuel's heart remained heavy with worry, a worry that shadowed each transaction, each courteous smile. Outside, a figure hesitated, a woman whose silhouette was both unfamiliar and familiar all at once. A rival baker named Lucia, her eyes held a plea, sincere and humble, as she crossed the threshold of his domain. Approaching the counter, she said softly, "Forgive my intrusion, but we've run out of flour, could you spare some?" Her gentle request lingered, enveloping the space between them. Taken aback, Manuel's first instinct was caution, his mind quickly assessing the implications. Yet an unseen hand seemed to brush against his heart, urging him to look beyond the immediate. He saw a story reflected in her eyes, one not so different from his own. Nodding, he surprised himself. "Take what you need," he said, his voice steady, resonating with a generosity that surpassed understanding. The exchange was simple yet profound, a transaction not of commerce but of compassion. Later, as daylight faded into the embrace of night, Manuel sat alone beneath the dim illumination of the bakery's light. The shadows of his decision stretching across the floor like unspoken questions. How could he help but competitor when his own livelihood was hanging by a thread. Yet the kindness he offered seemed to stir something deeper within. A seed planted in soil he did not yet understand. On his knees he prayed, a whisper, a confession of vulnerability and trust. Shepherd of my soul, I am unsure. I have given, and yet I fear. Help me see through your eyes, to trust in your wisdom beyond my own. As he lingered in the silence, a peace unexpected and promising washed over him, smoothing the rough edges of doubt. In the quiet of that sacred moment, he sensed God's gentle guidance, urging him to let go of fear, clinging tight to his chest. Courage welled up from a place not of certainty, but of faith, transcending the immediate concerns of the day. He rose, his heart lighter, ready to embrace whatever was to come. The next day, as dawn painted the sky with soft hues, a change palpable as the morning mist filled the air. Manuel's bakery began to draw new faces, each step taken by an invisible thread of community woven from shared kindness. Lucia returned, gratitude shining in every gesture, her presence a testament to the power of small acts of generosity. She brought freshly baked loaves to share, placing them on the counter beside his, a tapestry of flavors and stories, speaking without words. In sharing what little he had, Manuel found not just a new ally, but a community defining itself not through competition, but through a shared human spirit. Word spread of the bakery's warmth and black-eyed dawn's whisper. At the shelter's entrance, dawn casts a serene gold across the city. The air is crisp, filled with coffee scents and bird songs as volunteers arrive, their steps echoing through the alley. Inside, the shelter hums with quiet anticipation, where worn clothes and tired faces tell stories of survival. I search for my corner, a sanctuary here, but notice a vibrant patchwork blanket missing. It was a gift from a kind woman, its absence stirring concern and guilt within me. I step outside into fresh light, feeling the silent reflection it invites. Lord of mercy, I whisper, this fragile sanctuary needs restoring. With closed eyes, I wait for divine peace to fill my heart, hoping to be comforted amidst the morning's newness. Inside, I sift through donations, each item a tribute to past lives. My fingers linger over clothing and shoes, seeking answers to unspoken prayers. The blanket is elusive, evading my touch. Faces pass by, some avoiding eye contact, others sharing the same silent plea. As the shelter warms, so does the urgency within me, echoing God's call. Drawn to the chapel, I kneel in prayer amidst stained glass rainbows. Shepherd of my soul, I cry, guide my actions to reflect your love. A quiet breath of clarity stirs me, promising guidance. I rise, ready to trust this divine nudge, embracing his subtle plan. A step in faith outside, a young man sits. His eyes speak of sleepless nights and journeys untold. Barefoot he stands on cold pavement, a silent testament. In that sacred pose, divine whispers guide me, anoint the broken. Beside him, silence weaves a bond beyond words. My shoes in his hands, they seem destined for this moment, this grace-filled exchange. His grateful, surprised eyes capture the dawn's promise, a new beginning whispered softly. The day unfolds like a tapestry, grace weaving each moment to the divine. Back in the shelter, warm bread scents fill the air, symbols of unity. Volunteers move purposely, their acts a symphony of love. Faces now glow with hope, proof of the shelter's promise. As I return to my corner, absence becomes abundance, a testament to giving's unseen ripples. The blanket is still gone, yet peace remains, a reminder of God's answers through action, through steps meeting others' needs. I see now the intricate beauty of his plan, revealed in kindness that connects us all. Holy One, source of wholeness, guide my Unveil the paths unwalked, anoint the places broken. In your love may I serve. Amen. Ember shadows, dust cast long shadows, painting orange and crimson hues across the city. The air was thick with smoke's acrid scent, clinging like an unwelcome memory. Ash floated down like blackened snow, whispering silent eulogies for all that was lost. Jake stood before the charred ruins of the house, his jacket heavy with loss, his skeletal remains of what had once been a home stood stark against the fiery sky, each beam a testament to resilience and ruin. In his pocket he held a child's drawing, its vibrant colors a fragile symbol of hope amidst the destruction. Kneeling on the ashen ground, Jake felt guilt and helplessness, each heartbeat questioning why he survived when others hadn't. The charred earth scorched beneath his knees, a tactile reminder of the inferno's wrath. Clutching the drawing to his chest, he whispered with a voice broken yet hopeful, Lord of mercy, why was I spared? I did all I could, yet it feels like it's never enough. A tear traced his soot-smeared face, mingling with dirt and grief to blend sacred with broken. The evening breeze, gentle as a friend's touch, seemed to remind him of grace amidst his doubts, a soft caress that whispered of divine presence. Days passed like chapters. Jake was reluctant to read each new dawn, a reminder of the night that had scorched their world. Though the fires were out, an inner conflagration lingered within him, smoldering with unresolved sorrow and questions. Rachel, his wife, watched him with loving patience, her presence a comforting balm. Her fingers traced a brass lamp, its steady glow a testament to endurance amidst their shadows. For Jake, its light was a beacon amidst his internal tempest, a silent companion in the midnight hours when sleep eluded him. One evening, as dusk deepened and shadows gathered, Jake stood at the window, lost in thoughts. The skyline, once vibrant with life, was now ghostly and still, an echo of what used to be. He felt restless, seeking solace in a world turned upside down. The child's drawing on the wall stood out, a splash of color in his grayscale mind, a reminder of innocence and dreams. Shepherd of my soul, Jake prayed, the lamp casting gentle patterns that danced across the walls like whispers of peace. Guide me through this darkness, help me release this burden. His words were a surrender, a release of his heart's tight grip as he laid down his anxieties at the feet of the one who holds all answers. In the ensuing silence, God's presence comforted him, a divine whisper, tenderly assuring you are chosen to carry the light through darkness. His spirit calmed the storm within him, subsiding to a peaceful hush. Courage in you with clarity from prayer. Jake sought out families affected by the fire. He knocked on doors, each step humbling and empowering, with the act of reaching out as healing as it was daunting. Listening to their stories and sharing grief became a shared mosaic of resilience, each piece a testament to the human spirit. Through their stories he found his heart mending, as if divine threads sewed his spirit together, repairing the unseen tears. During that healing week, Jake sat with the young girl, the artist of the drawing. Her dreams of becoming a painter sparkled in her eyes, undimmed by the smoke. Her joy, a burst of light that pierced his darkness. In her innocence, Jake saw God's enduring promise, a reflection of hope and creation that soothed his weary soul. You're like a hero, she declared playfully, her words a crown on his weary head, an acolyte he felt he did not deserve. Jake smiled gently, softening the worry lines etched into his face. No, he said, I'm just a man who prays. His response was simple, a testament to the power of faith and humility. Twilight's blessing under the amber dust whiskered in a
night beneath the stars. Acti, restless in the rain. In the deepest night, the sacred bridge between today and tomorrow, I park my rig on a desolate stretch of interstate midnight. Drape the world in a veil, the drizzle outside whispering secrets to the windshield. The gentle patter was a murmuring symphony, trails weaving intricate patterns on the glass, dissolving swiftly. The rest stop was an island of profound silence, occasionally interrupted by the faint hum of a vending machine, its mechanical lullaby standing as a lone marker amidst wilderness. Above, through cloud gaps, faint stars glimmered, a tapestry of light in the night. A flickering lamppost stood at the lot's edge, its glow casting long shadows, a reminder of the miles behind and the daunting stretch ahead. The rain echoed my unease, a tune of longing and regret resonating deep within. Here, under heaven's expanse, a heaviness pressed upon me, a whisper of failure, reminder of the pain I caused those I cherished. Lord of mercy, I murmured, the words trembling and desperate. The request was a lifeline in my solitude. I clutched the steering wheel.
every muscle tense, my knuckles white. I've lost my way, I cannot forgive myself for leaving her. Show me the path back to her heart. With eyes closed, I surrendered to the silence, letting it cocoon me. Fragments of Psalm 23 wove through my mind, an assurance that in this valley of shadow, I was not forsaken. Each verse a gentle whisper, reminding me of the shepherd beside us through every storm. Echoes of the past, a vivid memory emerged. A sunlit day, my daughter's laughter. A melody filling our home with joy, painting our lives with the colors of happiness. But time and distance stretched out before us, creating a chasm of absence, a void filled with unspoken words and missed opportunities. The guilt gnawed incessantly, a shadow at the edge of my mind, feeding on the silence between us. The rain continued its gentle descent, each drop a reminder of time's relentless passage. I retrieved a small, well-worn photograph from the glove compartment. Her youthful face smiled back, radiating innocence and the promise of brighter days. The lamplight flickered over it, deepening the ache in my heart, shadows casting a glow on her features, a reminder of undiminished love and unbroken bonds. Great Shepherd, I whispered, my voice trembling in the wind. Give me the courage to seek forgiveness, to mend what's broken. Guide me to become the father she needs, for I am weary and need your light. In the wake of my prayer, a quiet peace settled, a subtle unlock of the chains imprisoning my heart. It was warmth as gentle as a whispered promise, a divine suggestion woven into my thoughts. Call her. The rain softened to a drizzle, clouds parting to reveal stars bright and hopeful against the night. They winked knowingly, as if assuring hope entwined with every light against the darkness. My fingers hesitated over my phone, suddenly heavy with redemption's weight. Each ring in the cab echoed, a steady heartbeat in the stillness, each a drumbeat of hope. Dad, her voice tentative yet warm, cut through the silence, a balm to my wounded spirit. There was a melody in her voice, the same laughter that filled our home, now edged with forgiveness, grace. It's me, sweetheart. I began, emotions tangling in my throat, my voice hoarse with unshed tears. I've missed so much, and I'm sorry. I'm ready to put things right. To be here, truly here, for you. A pause stretched across the miles, a breathless moment where time held its breath. The night holding its collective breath too. Then with grace filling every corner of my soul, she answered, I've missed you too, Dad. Let's start anew. Outside the rain ceased, leaving a world baptized anew. The air fresh with newness, stars above glittering with intensity, sharing our healing moment, whispering promises of rebirth.